we are going to learn the subject and object markers I, ka, and rl. Let's look at two sentences without the subject and object markers. First sentence is Minho 사과 먹어요. So it's supposed to mean Minho eats an apple. And the next one is 동생 밥 먹어요. So it's also supposed to mean something which is little brother or little sister eats rice or a meal. 밥 means rice or meal. Now, as we all know, the Korean sentence is a subject-object-verb structure. Subject, object, verb, the SOV structure. Now the subjects here are Minho and 동생, while the objects are 사과 and 밥. Let's look at how do we use the subject and object markers. For here, Minho, we use 가, 사과를 먹어요. 민호가 사과를 먹어요. The reason we use 가 is because Minho, the subject, ends with a vowel, and we use 가. While 사과, it ends also with a vowel, and we use 를. 민호가 사과를 먹어요. Now this sentence is complete, and the meaning is clear that Minho eats an apple. For the next sentence, let's look. 동생이 밥을 먹어요. 동생이 밥을 먹어요. Now it becomes clear that little brother or little sister eats rice, and we know which object is it, and it's clear which one is the subject and which one is the object with the placement of the proper markers in the sentence. We use 동생이 because 동생 ends with the consonant, and we use for the object because 밥 ends with the consonant. That's a very simple rule. Let's just consider that in place of the subject marker, we use the object marker and vice versa. Let's just try using the subject and the object marker in the switched position, which is using the incorrect way. In this sentence, Minho 사과 먹어요. So what we want to mean is Minho eats an apple. But let's just place 민호를 사과가 먹어요. This sentence makes no perfect sense because it will mean Minho eaten by an apple, and there's no way an apple could eat a person. So this sentence is wrong. Of course, the correct way to put the sentence is 민호가 사과를 먹어요. Now it makes perfect sense. It means Minho eats an apple. Minho, as we know, is the subject and is the action performer. The action is 먹어요, and the person who is doing the action is the subject, which is Minho in this case. 사과 is where the action is performed on. And whenever you need to refer to a noun that you have an action performed on, you always need to use the 을 or 를 marker. It may be confusing in the beginning which one to use, whether it's 가 or 를. This is the easy way to remember. If you want to use, if there is a noun that you want to have an action performed on, always follow by 를 or 을. Let's consider the next tips. In a description sentence, whereby it ends with an adjective, for example, 그 여자가 예뻐요. 예뻐요 is pretty. That woman or girl is pretty. In this sentence, there is no activity or no verb involved, but it's a description on a person, which is woman or girl. And when you're describing something, always use 가. The next example is 선생님이 잘생겨요. Teacher is handsome. And because there is no verb, there is only a description regarding the noun, always follow with 이 or 가. Sentences with verb endings but without any subjects. For example, 그 사람을 사랑해요. I love that person. In this sentence, the I is omitted. It is dropped because it is an obvious statement from a person and it comes from a person, that is I. But in English is I love that person. The saram here, that person, is loved. And an action is performed on the saram. So you always have to follow with 을 or 를. Next, 김치를 좋아해요. The kimchi, I like the kimchi. So the act of liking is done on the kimchi. So you always have to follow with 를. Consider another similar sentence like 김치를 좋아해요, which is 김치가 좋아요. 좋아요 is good. It means good. And you need to put, instead of 를, you need to use the 가. 김치가 좋아요, because you are describing the kimchi and you're not doing anything on the kimchi. Now I hope that was helpful. I leave you with two sentences that you may always hear in Korean dramas. First is 내가 너를 사랑해 and 네가 나를 사랑해. In the first sentence, who is being loved and who is the person who is loving? And same as the second sentence. Let's break it. 내가 I 너를 you 사랑해. So the act of 사랑해 is done on 너 because of 를. So it's you. So it means I love you. So the next sentence is 네가 나를 사랑해. If you break it, it's you, I, love. And the act of 사랑해, love, is done on 나, which is I. So the meaning is you love me. Try to study them again and you will get a much better understanding. Just a note to you, 너를 is also always short form to become 널. So it can sound as 내가 널 사랑해. While 나를, the short form is 날. So it can also sound as 내가 날 사랑해. Today we have learned about the subject and object markers, and it's a basic lesson, but yet it is very important and will be used extensively in the Korean language. So I leave you with the last sentence.